And we are rolling on the 29th of April here at UCLA.
It's October.
Where it's another beautiful day. It's also October. April and October 29th. It's a sunny day. And we're about to hear Brianna share with us 3 emotions that she experienced from watching Freedom Riders.
Hi everyone, my name is Bree.
Hi Bree.
Everyone has their own story, and it's important that you tell your story, even to yourself. As someone who strongly believes in the importance of finding your voice and sharing it with others, when I heard this quote in a movie, you better believe I was hooked. But it wasn't just the quote that got me, but rather feeling like I was watching a film so applicable to my own life. I had stumbled upon a voice, a story that would help me find my own. Today I'd like to share with you a film that truly moved me, Freedom Riders. It took me through a range of emotions, at times making me feel angry, other times it made me feel sad, but in the end I found comfort and inspiration. The New York Times reviewed the film saying, "So many films about so-called troubled teens come off as little more than exploitation. Freedom Riders, by contrast, is not only about an extraordinarily dedicated young teacher who took on 2 extra jobs to buy supplies for her students, but it's also emphatically about some extraordinary young people." I couldn't agree more. For those of you who have seen the film, and even those who haven't, but hopefully soon will, you would also agree that this could be more true. Based on a true story, and in the midst of high racial tension, a white teacher from Newport Beach takes a job in Long Beach. There she is assigned to teach a classroom full of throwaway students, all of whom are Black, Hispanic, or Asian except one. But in the face of opposition, she never backs down, and as the film unravels, we get to see how incredible not only Mrs. G's story is, but also the story of her students. At the start of the film, I found myself feeling angry. And one of the scenes that really upset me was when Tito drew a picture of his Black classmate Jamal with big fat lips. And he passed it around the room. And everyone joined in, laughing and mocking Jamal for his physical features, and this was something he really couldn't help. This took me back to a time when I just moved from New York to Georgia, and it became very apparent to me that the color of my skin mattered to others. I had a classmate named Taylor who always made it a point to pick on me, and it was no secret that he didn't like Black people. In fact, in the city that I was living, it was considered diverse and accepting, but I remember quite a few instances of people who openly voiced their dislike for Blacks. So one day, while I was making a banner for a project, Taylor came over and began taunting me, saying that he was going to ruin it. And even after I asked him numerous times not to, he decided to take his dirty feet and walk all over my poster. Enraged, I got up and I threw a metal ruler at him, and we got into a physical altercation which ultimately resulted in my suspension. And I guess in some ways my feelings were hurt, but I was mostly just pissed off. Growing up in New York, this wasn't something that I really dealt with, so I couldn't grasp the concept or the idea that my being Black made me a target. And you know, like Jamal, I was being bullied for something I really couldn't help. So, I really never wanted to be in Georgia in the first place, and just having to deal with this on top of that only made my resentment grow. As the film progressed, my anger turned to sadness. And the part of the film that made me feel sad was when Mrs. G gave her students journals. She gave them the option to either let her read them, or keep them private. They could write whatever they wanted, just as long as they wrote something. And this is the part of the film where they really begin to discuss the abuse that they face outside of the home, stories of homelessness, physical abuse, death, and drugs. And I'll spare you the details of my own story because the content is pretty heavy. And I'm not going to cry. But I'm someone who dealt with sexual abuse from the age of 6 until I was 13. And if you can think back to when you were that age and imagine carrying around that weight with you, and putting on this face and having to go to school so that no one could know what was going on. If you can imagine being in one place physically but in a totally different world mentally, and longing to have a normal childhood but knowing that you couldn't. So like Mrs. G's students, I took to writing, but I didn't have anyone that I felt I could share my story with. I was really young, so I didn't know how to share such a big secret. But I needed a way to lift that heavy load and to stop myself from drowning. And so I wrote all the time and on anything I could get my hands on. So when I saw this scene in the movie, I couldn't help but cry because I knew exactly what those students were going through. Finally, in the end, I was able to wipe my tears and find comfort and inspiration. At the end of the movie, Mrs. G had her students read the diary of Anne Frank. And at the end of the book, they got to meet Mrs. Gies, which was the woman who helped hide Anne and her family. She came in as a guest speaker, and one of the students stood up and told her that she was his hero. And to this, she replied, "We can all, in our own small way, turn on a small light in a dark room. You are heroes. You are heroes every day." And at the time of watching this film, I remember being comforted by this thought. The idea that I could be an extraordinary person despite what had happened to me. Inspired by the film and the strength of these students, I mustered up my own strength to tell my mom about what had happened. I went into her room one night and began helping her make her bed. Overwhelmed with emotions, I began to tell her about what I had been through. This was definitely one of the scariest moments of my life. And many tears were shed, but this really helped me find my voice and really gave me a sense of relief because for the first time in a long time I felt like I didn't have to carry that weight by myself. I remember she held me really tightly and told me that she loved me, and even to this day she loves to remind me how much she admires my strength. And that was in my own small way, turning on a light in a dark room. So in summary, I've shared with you how the movie Freedom Riders upset me, saddened me, and ultimately comforted and inspired me. There should be no doubt in this room that this film truly moved me. So in closing, I'd like to leave you with this quote. We all have our own stories to tell, and it's important that we tell our stories even to ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. 6:02. Okay, let's see. Let's go over here today.
Hi, my name is Alexia.
Hi, Alexia.
So, I thank you, Bree, for being so vulnerable and so open. It brought tears to my eyes. And you're so eloquent in general. Your past speeches have always been well written, and so is this one. So thank you for being so open.
Yeah, it was excellent. Improvement.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi,
After
Jennifer.
your speech, maybe you could project your voice a little more and have more eye contact because I noticed you were looking up a lot. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Okay, Bree, I'm flattered that you trusted us enough to share this with us, and thank you for that. That was excellent, really excellent. It was really good. Now, you started with everyone has a story to tell, and you tied back to that, so you understood that well. That was good. Your thesis preview was excellent. Your quote from the New York Times was perfect, and you said you agreed with it, and so you did that well. Didn't quite need so much of the plot summary about, we didn't need inside baseball of Newport Beach to Long Beach, just a teacher that went and taught there is fine. On Angry, yeah, good story. Racism, clearly, and, really a bad scene, and you're the one that got kicked out of school for it, even though he stomped on your poster. And we really got you reliving that anger, and that was well done. Very well done. On your sadness, yes, that was very powerful. And have I used the analogy of the razor's edge yet here in class? No? Do you know how narrow the edge of a razor is? You know what a razor is? Okay. How hard would it be to walk on a razor's edge? Difficult, right? And what I saw Bree do was walk on the razor's edge. And the metaphor has to do with not falling off completely into emotion and not falling off the other side completely into rationality. And right in between is on the razor's edge. And that's where we always want to be when we're storytelling. We have a little emotion, we have a little rationality. Walking the razor's edge. And she walked it well. She started to lose it, but she got it back. You just to keep it going. If you find yourself in felt sensing and being overwhelmed, you just pull it back in, take a deep breath, and go on. But your audience will get the connection, and you keep going. So I thought you walked the razor's edge very well in telling that story. Your third story of comfort and inspiration and the catharsis you experienced in telling your mother was good. Your summary, your conclusion, and tie back were fine. You just need to watch your time. You wanted to be extemporaneous, you were. You wanted to gesture appropriately, you did. I need to work with you on your eye contact now, so take a little step forward now. You really have a problem with this. So, start over here. Tell us about your morning, and I want you to make 5 seconds of eye contact, and if you blink or do anything else, I'll start the timer over again. So let's practice making 5 seconds of eye contact as we talk. Start here. Okay.
My morning was hectic. I spent all morning studying for midterms, and I didn't get much sleep. So I don't know. I ended up maybe getting like 30 minutes, and then I woke up to get ready for school and walk my dog, and then take the metro to school where I took my first midterm at 11 a.m. It went great. I'm pretty sure I got an A. After my midterm, I started focusing on this class and what I would say for the TED talk.
Okay, now do you feel the difference with that kind of eye contact?
Eye contact, not in speech, in my normal life is really hard for me. I have not looked at people up until maybe last year, so
yeah.
I know that's seriously. I really just never have. So.
Okay, you need to work on it and work on it when you move and all the way around and work on the back and the sides and everywhere else. But overall, I want to congratulate you on doing a wonderful job, and again, thank you for sharing a very deeply and troubled thing, but your felt sensing was wonderful, and thank you for trusting us to share that with us. Thank you. Okay, do we have a volunteer to do an intro speech?
Yeah.
Okay. Who are you introducing?
Giovanna. Yeah, she's coming.
Oh, she's coming. The green meanie, huh? Thank you. Hannah, are you going first? Okay.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
Poet Han Jong said, "It is amazing that one person is coming. He comes with his past, present, and future. This is because the whole life of one person is coming." As the poet said, meeting someone is an amazing incident, and therefore introducing someone is not an easy job. I find it difficult to introduce even myself, and how can I dare to introduce my friend to you? Well, but I did my best to know about who she was, who she is, and who she will be. Today, I'd like to introduce my new study buddy, Giovanna. I will talk about her past as a commuter across international borders, and her present as a UCLA student, and her future as a sports reporter. So first, let me talk about Giovanna's past. Giovanna spent her most of childhood in border towns, Calexico, California, and Mexicali, Mexico. Her home was in Mexico, but she went to school in California because her mother wanted her to study in a better environment. So every morning she got up at 5 a.m., took 2 buses, and walked 10 blocks to go to school. and sometimes she needs to stay at her mother's friend's house in order to prove her residence in the school district. All these situations sound really burdensome, but little Giovanna never thought it negative. She believed that this experience will help her love both culture and get the best of both worlds. So now Giovanna is enjoying her life in UCLA. When she was young, she wanted to live in a big city, and the mere fact that UCLA has LA in its name attracted her to this school, and it has been her dream school since she was a sixth grader. But now she appreciates UCLA's diversity more than its location. When she was taking freshman summer program this summer, she had a really positive culture shock. In the past, when she thought of Hispanic community, she could only thought of people from Mexico. But in UCLA, in the summer program, she could meet many Hispanic students from different backgrounds, such as Spain and Central America. So she thought, compared to her hometown where 99% of population is Hispanic, in UCLA she could meet many different people from different culture, and she was really happy to meet open-minded and non-judgmental people in UCLA. And lastly, I will talk about Giovanna's future goals. Her short-term goal is to become a communication studies major. She believes that this major will achieve her long-term goal, which is to become a first Hispanic woman sports reporter in ESPN. Since young, she has had a huge passion for sports, playing sports video game with her older brother. And through this passion, now she wants to inspire her Hispanic community and women in the world. She also wants to make a non-profit organization to help women in the world. In summary, I have told you about Giovanna's past, present, and future. I hope you all enjoyed Giovanna's story. A girl who commuted across international borders now became a member of UCLA community, which is full of diversity. And in the future, she wants to become a sports reporter and work for a Hispanic community and women. It would be an exaggeration to say that now I know Giovanna really well, because as I said in the beginning, introducing someone is not an easy job. But through this opportunity, by interviewing Giovanna, I really get to know about her life's trajectory, not just mere fun facts about her. Therefore, I am truly glad to meet Giovanna, and it's my pleasure to introduce Giovanna to you. Thank you.
Thank you. 428. Where are we? Here.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
Hi,
I
Amanda.
really like your speech. I think you spoke like at a good pace, and it was really organized. And I like how you tied like your ending and your beginning together, because it was really clear.
Thank you, Amanda. Yes, please.
I really like your speech.
Say your name.
Oh, Siri?
Hi, Siri.
Yeah, I really like your speech. It's very organized. It's a lot of stories and contents. It's gonna get better if you have more like emotional communication, like full emotional communication with audience.
Yeah, how would you do that, Siri?
I think probably just like more eye contact.
More eye contact and more stories, perhaps?
Yeah, and probably put yourself more into the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You see what she means? Hannah, you started with the poet and about knowing a person's past, present, and future, and I wondered if you were going to go back to that poet, past, present, and future. You kind of did tie back to something that you started with, so that was fine. So you started with a poem, and so that was good. I think, apropos to the comment here, I think that although you did tell stories, I think if you can put a little asides in, like, I really respect my study buddy Giovanna for walking 10 miles to school every day just to get an education in America. I think that's really amazing. So, put a little value comment from yourself in about your study buddy. I really respect her instead of saying, well, I met her, but I don't really know her very well, but I know her a little bit, So, emotion from you. Dream school, yes. And diversity, yeah, that was okay story. In the future, she wants to be a comm studies major and be a sports broadcaster. That was okay. Some addition, I hope she makes it, just little rooting sections to show that you really respect and like your study buddy. That sort of thing would be good. Your kanais were to have a good pace, to tie back to your introduction, and to have open gestures. How to go?
I think my speech was longer than the first respect speech. I tried to add some content more. And for open gesture, I tried to use some arms and hands.
Good.
This time. Yeah, what was the last one?
Tie back to the introduction, pace time management.
Yeah, I think I also tied back to introduction by mentioning what I said in the beginning.
Okay. So let's work on passion and communicating an emotional connection to your audience, okay? But that'll make you more, in your speech, more sticky, Hannah. Thank you. Let me adjust the camera. There you go. Giovanna stands before you, managing attention. Power stance, feet wider than your shoulders. Communicating respect non-verbally, saying to my audience, I respect you. Finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi everybody, my name is Giovanna.
Hi Giovanna.
So on the first day of class, Professor Miller asked us to think about someone who respects us. I remember Hannah immediately raised her hand and said that her younger siblings respect her, since she is a role model to them. At the time, I honestly did not think much about this. But now that I got to know Hannah, I understand that that is exactly who she is. She's not only a role model to her younger siblings and everyone around her, but also to me. I will now share with you all 3 stories about Hannah's past, working as an interpreter at the Korean National Museum of Art, Hwaseong, and her present as she travels back to her family home in Suwon to visit her younger sister, and her future as she plans to graduate early this year and go back to work in Korea. Okay. So Hannah was born and raised in a small city in Korea called Suwon. Hannah is a person that values her family and her culture more than anything else in the world. Since she was a young girl, she would enjoy visiting art museums with her family. This family passion eventually led to her strong interest in cultural events. During her high school years, Hannah worked as an interpreter in Hwaseong, a fortress made in the 17th century in Korea. Hwaseong is also, for those of you who are not familiar with it, a Korean world cultural heritage. So on one particular date, Hannah was hosting a tour for a couple that told her that they were from California. This couple were the first Californians that Hannah had ever met, and as they were talking, and they told her about UCLA. So the couple spoke so highly about this school that eventually on September of 2013, Hannah arrived at the United States for the first time in her life and became a UCLA student. Now, Hannah stands here before you guys 3 years later, ready to graduate with her communication studies degree. So every summer, Hannah travels back to her family home in Suwon to work in organizing cultural events at the Korean National Museum of Art. This past summer, she decided to visit her younger sister, who attends the Korean National University of Art. At first, the plan was to return to their family home in Suwon. However, Hannah and her younger sister were having so much fun visiting museum exhibitions that they both decided to stay in her younger sister's apartment in Seoul. So her younger sister was also taking summer classes at the university, so Hannah had the opportunity to go with her younger sister and to visit her younger sister's welding class. So as Hannah witnessed her younger sister create a small table from scratch, she realized a different aspect of her sister that she had never seen before. Hannah had always thought of her sister as young. However, after witnessing this, she saw her sister as very independent, mature, and professional. So when it comes to Hannah's future, she knows that she wants to she intends to graduate early this year as a third year and go back to work in Korea. She is sure that she wants to work in organizing cultural events such as festivals or in an art museum. Since Hannah was a young girl, she realized that culture has the power to open new horizons for everybody. She also likes how culture and art evoke certain emotions in people and makes them think out of the box. So in summary, I've told you about Hannah's past as she worked as an interpreter and hosted a tour for a couple from California, her present as she traveled back to Korea and witnessed her younger sister's welding class, and her future as she plans to go back to work in Korea. So Hannah, as you may now know, is a very passionate and family-oriented person. She is extremely bright, and I'm 100% sure that you will all enjoy meeting Hannah, because just like Hannah's younger siblings, we all sometimes need an inspirational role model in our lives.
Thank you. Okay, stay in the power stands. Where are we?
Hi, my name's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
I really like your speech. You seem confident, you seem prepared for the speech, and you're moving around and having enough hand gestures. So you think really that.
Thank you, Lisa. Improvement.
Hi, Peyton.
Hi, Peyton.
I think you did a really good job. Maybe just project a little bit more. I think it sounded like you rehearsed a lot and did a really good job, but I think you were so focused on just kind of just reciting what you had practiced that you didn't focus as much on projecting and making it like
Extemporaneous.
yeah.
Yeah. Good. Were you aware of that? Were you kind of rusty for how long it's been since you were ready to give it? Yeah. Well, you started with the story of her and saying she really respected her sibling. You tied back to that. That was wonderful. Your thesis preview was good. You told stories of her past, her present, and her future. That was all good. I just would echo what Peyton said, was that we got much. When you watch yourself tonight on YouTube, you'll see that it's a little mechanical and not extemporaneous and not a real strong emotional connection. I would add some valuative terms. Like, I'm really amazed that she's so artistic, that she does this stuff, that her sister could make a table, weld a table, blah, blah, blah. You know, stuff like that, that shows that you respect her and that sort of thing. Your kanais were to make eye contact, don't clasp my hands, and don't say like and how to go.
Okay. So for my last speech on Tuesday, which I had trouble doing eye contact, I feel like this one was much better.
Good.
And my hand gestures, I'm pretty sure I didn't clasp them. I feel like they're kind of awkward because I feel like I just do this. So, I don't know. And my like and I think I did that better too.
Great. Keep up the good work. Our work is done. Thank you, everyone.